So yes, you are the youngest executive producer. Like, do you get embarrassed when people say it, or you're like living it loud and proud?
I get a little blushy. I get giddy, but no, it's pretty exciting, and it's still kind of hard to believe because I'm still me, like 14-year-old me, just like chilling and stuff, and I already have this big title in Hollywood, which is pretty cool. But it's very surreal, and it's something to look forward to, and being in a space where there's so many peers and so many mentors with me, so it's pretty cool to create.
Like you said, you are only 14. Amazing. You're just doing you, though. You're just living your best life. You're staying grounded. But do you remember getting that call to be Diane? Which just started your career?
Of course. I mean, that is something that really, started everything. It's one of the biggest memories I have. I won't tell the whole story, but of course we lived in Huntington Beach at the time, and it was 2 hours away, back and forth with the auditions of Blackish, and literally I was sleeping in the car, and I woke up to it.
Nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you.
So you've got a completely female-driven writers, directors. Do you feel like it's a different vibe on set?
Yeah, I mean, I think that, we put together an all-female writer and directors team. The directors are just me and Jamie Babbitt and Leslie Headland, who I co-created the show with, along with Amy Poehler. And it sort of just happened that way. But once we were 90% in, it was like, let's go all the way. But I would say also the men that are a part of this show, like Chris Teague, the cinematographer, who we're honoring tonight, is our giants. Michael Bricker, our production designer. Marcel, who did the hair. I mean, without the men on the show.
Collaborate.
Yeah. So, but certainly it made for. I think female characters that are sort of drawn in a way that we're not used to seeing, who are a little bit more complex, if that makes sense.
Yeah. When you signed up for the show, did you think it would be as extravagant and tear-jerking and just as emotional and just so beautiful as it is?
I knew when I read it that it was awesome. I didn't know. You never know if people are going to watch it. You just don't know. You don't know if it's going to find an audience. So I feel like anybody who says that they knew something was going to be great before it was actually great is maybe lying, or I'm not in on I'm not in on that sort of part of being a human. But it's been my experience that you don't know until you know.
Yeah.
But I get it now that everyone's watched it and seems to like it. I get it. I understand.
I honestly can't watch an episode without crying. I have to have the tissue box there.
Well, good. I'm glad. That means you have a heart beating in your chest.
Trying.
Yeah.
So you're about to start. Well, season 4 is about to start airing. You just got signed for 3 more seasons, so you're up to 7 now. Can you even fathom where this is going to go with your characters? Do you have an idea at all?
We have an idea, and he's speaking of Dan, he's equally generous with sort of the information that he has about the show. He's got the whole thing planned out, and so he's always said from the beginning, whatever you want to know, I'll tell you. And he's been, very generous with that and honest with that, and true to his word. Every time you have a question, he'll answer it. He'll say, there's never a surprise on our show where you read something and you go, man, I really wish I would have known that, And I've been on shows like that before. It's a little frustrating, and I get it. Just the logistics of it, you don't want the story to get out. I understand that, but he's been very trusting in us and sort of letting us know.
So you're starting season 4, is that right? Or you're starting
We've just completed shooting season 4, so that is currently being, they're sprinkling their magic dust. Some people call it editing or post-production, but so it's going through that process and then should be ready to air pretty soon, in a few months.
That's amazing, and it must take a lot of effort and work, and just the smallest things are thought through.
Talent, imagination, but also managing people. He's a huge crew underneath him, working really hard for him. So to be able to delegate and direct that, it requires every single management and artistic and artisan skill you can possibly imagine. So it's long overdue. He's been nominated for Emmys before, but I don't know why he's never won one.
You reckon it's his year?
I hope so. Because I just don't. I mean, look, I'm biased because I'm part of the show, but I just think it's one of the best looking shows on television. It's just every single frame is just beautiful.
Yeah, I have to agree.
There are massive transitions that happen, in television, in film, in every medium, and so I'm not the sole writer. I'm not the sole anything in my show. It's extremely collaborative. I have people who help me make my show and get it to where it's going, and so it's something that you have to kind of steel yourself, and I feel like what this evening's about empowerment and impact, is about what we as women have gone through, and it's an extraordinary thing to be representing people like us, like women, like marginalized people and stuff like that, and that's what my show is really about. So it's an amazing honor, and Flea.
Oh, I'm so proud to be here for them honoring Pamela and her work. I mean, you'll hear in my speech for multiple reasons why, but we're all just so proud of her, and she empowers all of us every day.
You must be so proud of her.
No one cares. I'm proud of her. I mean, I owe her, if anything. I'm not, I feel, I can't be proud of Rachel.
Yeah, let's be real.
Proud. No.
He owes you. So,
Not at all.
Did he?
Not at all. We want people to get the parts more than they, it's a great thing for us when
The
someone
right
kills
ones.
it.
The right one.
Right.
So how did you know he was the one?
I always say that I feel, wow, back in 1920, I am a huge fan of Chris's, and to me, for real, I find Chris to be compulsively watchable. Like, I think he is so dynamic, and when they were describing to me on the phone the kind of guy they wanted Yossarian to be this time, like different from the movie, and all the attributes, I was like, oh, it's him. It's Chris Abbott.
Yeah.
And then of course he came in and killed it, and then that was it.
Someone constantly going through an existentialist crisis. And you thought of me.
Exactly.
Yeah,
Like,
right.
picture
I thought of
perfect.
who was
Right.
moody,
Yeah,
right?
Did you have to crack any jokes to try and win her over or anything? Or?
It's a weird.
Oh, he just came straight in for George and Grant, and then they
Yeah.
then killed it.
Yeah.
There you go. Well, congratulations, you guys, and you guys get to work with George Clooney all day, every day. That must be fun too.
It's fun.
It's just like whatever. It's just fun. Yeah. Thank you, guys. Have a good night.